Boys and girls, as you can see, we're here at Bowlby Library again to do another story hour with you today. And we have a lot of people, we have several people helping out because we've got a special story time today. So we're trying to practice our social distancing. And this is Mrs. Kathy. And over here we have Olivia. She's here to help us cut vegetables. And we have Miss Megan, of course.
Hi, guys.
And she's going to do a lot of fun stuff with you. And then recording is our Miss Susie. So we're all here. And I want you to look at the table because we have a lot of things on the table today. We have a pot, we have some vegetables and some broth and lots of fresh vegetables and even some meat. And I want you to think about this book and see if you think that you might understand what we're going to be doing today. I bet you've guessed that we might be making some soup, and if you did, you were right. So get mom and dad or grandma and grandpa or aunt or uncle and join in today as we read a story called Stone Soup. And if you look here, I have my stone because you can't make stone soup without a stone. So we're ready to read in Stone Soup by Marcia Brown. I like the pictures in this book. They're really old-fashioned, and they look really nice. I really like the colors that they used and the illustrations. And Marcia Brown did both of those. She wrote the story and she illustrated the book. So here we go. 3 soldiers trudged down a road in a strange country. They were on their way home from the wars. Besides being tired, they were hungry. In fact, they had eaten nothing for 2 days. Can you imagine not being able to eat for 2 days? I would be really hungry. Now, how would I like a good dinner tonight, said the first. Oh, and how about a bed to sleep in, said the second. But all that is impossible, said the third. We must march on. On they marched, and then suddenly, ahead of them, they saw the lights of a village. Hey, maybe we'll find a bite to eat there, said the first. And a loft to sleep in, said the second. No harm in asking, said the third. Now the peasants of that place feared strangers. They were afraid. When they heard that the 3 soldiers were coming down the road, they talked among themselves. Here come 3 soldiers. Soldiers are always hungry, but we have little enough for ourselves. And they hurried to hide their food. Oh, that's sad. They pushed sacks of barley under the hay in the lofts. They lowered buckets of milk down the wells. They spread old quilts over the carrot bins. And they hid their cabbages and potatoes under the beds. They hung their meat in the cellars. They hid all that they had to eat. And then they waited. I think that's kind of sad that they had to hide all of their food. The soldiers stopped first at the house of Paul and Francine. Good evening to you, they said. Could you spare a bit of food for 3 hungry soldiers? We had had no food for ourselves for 3 days, said Paul. Francine made a sad face. It's been a poor harvest. The 3 soldiers went on to the house of Albert and Louise. Could you spare a bit of food and have you some corner where we could sleep for the night? Oh, no, said Albert. We gave all that we could spare to soldiers who came before you. And our beds are full, said Louise. At Vincent and Marie's, the answer was the same. It had been a poor harvest, and all the grain must be kept for seed. So it went all through the village. Everyone they had asked, but not a peasant had any food to give away. They all had good reasons. One family had used grain for feed, another had an old sick father to care for, and all had too many mouths to feed. The villagers stood in the street and they sighed. They looked as hungry as they could. The 3 soldiers talked amongst themselves. Then the first soldier called out, "Good people." The peasants drew near. "We are 3 hungry soldiers in a strange land. We have asked you for food, and you have no food. Well then, let's make stone soup." The peasants stared at the soldiers. Stone soup? That would be something to know about. How do you make soup from stones? First, we'll need a large iron pot, the soldiers said. The peasants brought the largest pot that they could find. How else to cook enough? That's none too large, said the soldiers, but it will do. And now water to fill it and a fire to heat it. It took many buckets of water to fill the pot. That is a large pot, isn't it? Pretty big. A fire was built on the village square and the pot was set to boil. And now, if you please, I need 3 round, smooth stones. Those are easy enough to find. So the peasants' eyes grew round as they watched the soldiers clean the stones and drop them into the pot. Any soup needs salt and pepper, said the soldiers, and they began to stir. Children ran to fetch salt and pepper. Stones like these generally make good soup, but boy, if we just had some carrots, it would be much better. Why, I think I have a carrot or 2, said Francine, and off she ran. She came back with her apron full of carrots from the bin beneath the red quilt. Look at all those carrots. I think that they were kind of trying to fool those soldiers by telling them they had no food. A good stone soup should have some cabbage, said the soldiers as they sliced the carrots into the pot. But no use asking for what you don't have. Well, I might be able to find a cabbage somewhere, said Marie, and she hurried home, and back she came with 3 cabbages from the cupboard under her bed. If only we had a bit of beef and a few potatoes, this soup would be good enough for a rich man's table. The peasants thought that over. They remembered their potatoes and the sides of beef hanging in the cellars. They ran to fetch some. A rich man's soup, and all from a few stones. It seemed like magic. Do you think it was magic? Ah, sighed the soldiers as they stirred in the beef and the potatoes. If we only had a little barley and maybe some broth, this soup would be fit for a king himself. Indeed, he asked for just such a soup when last he dined with us. The peasants looked at each other. The soldiers had entertained the king? Well, that's cool. But no use asking for what you don't have, the soldiers sighed. The peasants brought their barley from the lofts, and they brought their broth from the wells. The soldiers stirred the barley and broth into the steaming soup while the peasants stared. At last, the soup was ready. All of you shall taste, the soldiers said, but first the table must be set. Great tables were placed in the square, and all around were lighted torches. Such a soup! How good it smelled! Truly fit for a king. But then the peasants asked themselves, would not such a soup require some bread, and maybe a roast and cider? Soon a banquet was spread, and everyone sat down to eat. Never had there been such a feast. Never had the peasants tasted such soup. And fancy soup from stones. They ate and they drank and they ate and they drank, and after that they danced and sang far into the night. And everyone looks like they're having a great time. At last they were tired, and then the 3 soldiers asked, is there not a loft where we can sleep? Let 3 such wise and splendid gentlemen sleep in a loft? Indeed, they must have the best beds in the village. Wow. So the first soldier slept in the priest's home, the second soldier slept in the baker's house, and the third soldier slept in the mayor's house. Those indeed were the best beds in town. In the morning, the whole village gathered in the square to give them a send-off. Many thanks for what you have taught us, the peasants said to the soldiers. We shall never go hungry. Now we know how to make soup from stones. Oh, it's all in knowing how, said the soldiers, and off they went down the road. And then the townspeople said, such men don't grow on every bush. And that's the story of stone soup. And you know, there's something about that, because at first the peasants didn't want to share, but then they realized just by sharing a little bit, everybody could make a huge feast for everybody to enjoy, and they were generous. And we have a book here, and it's another book called Stone Soup, but we're not going to read that. But there's something in the back I want to talk to you about. It's a big word. It's called cooperation. And right now, everybody is having to cooperate in our country by being apart from each other a little bit, but still being kind. And cooperation means that you work with others to do things that need to be doing. And that's what we're going to be doing today. It's going to take 4 of us today to do everything that we need to do so that you learn how to make stone soup for yourself. So when the travelers came to town, each of the villagers had a little bit of food, but not enough for an entire meal. So when they brought it all together, they were able to make a delicious soup, all from a stone. So we're going to get ready here, and if you look around, you'll see that Olivia is cutting up all of the vegetables, getting ready. Miss Megan is getting ready over by the pot, and we have an ingredient list for you. And later on today, you're going to be able to find all of these things on the porch, so you can go and make your own stone soup at home. And our stone soup's going to be a little bit different than our stories. We have a lot more vegetables to put on ours. So we're going to go ahead and make our soup. And while the soup is cooking, we're going to make it in an Instapot today. An Instapot is something that makes soup very fast. So that way you'll be able to see what the soup looks like when we're all done. And while it's cooking, we're going to be reading the story with you. So let's go ahead and get started, Miss Megan. What do you say?
Sounds good, guys. So in my pot right now we have, I'm going to go ahead, turn my Instapot on to the saute mode, and it will start melting my butter. And then in this butter, we are going to add some of our meat in just a minute.
Did you turn on the stove button? Oh, okay. Because remember, the villagers had some beef hanging up downstairs. We don't hang our beef up anymore. We buy it from the grocery store. But we're going to go ahead and open that up and stick that in there once our butter's melted.
Yep, you can see it starting to melt, and you'll see some steam coming off here in a minute.
One thing about browning your meat before you start making your soup is it gives your soup a little bit more flavor. If you see Mrs. Kathy is wearing a glove, that's because everybody has to be extra safe right now. So when we're handling food, we want to be sure that we're extra safe in doing that. When Miss Megan's ready, I'll dump that in there for her.
Okay.
We're just going to brown it just a little bit so that it gets nice and flavorful, and then we'll start adding all of our other ingredients. Before you know it, we're going to have some wonderful stone soup.
We can talk about where some of these ingredients come from. Our meat comes from cows, and then our butter even comes from cows with our milk.
Oops. Let's take that out of there.
And now the meat's in there, so we're going to get this to brown. Toss it all nice. Maybe season a little.
While Miss Megan's talking about her meat there and getting her meat browned, I'll tell you what we're going to put in our soup. We're going to go ahead and start with our stones. Okay, I'm going to put those in there because that does make the soup taste extra special. Now, these stones have been scrubbed and sanitized, so they are very, very clean stones. And then, while that's cooking, we're also going to be adding some beef broth. We're going to be adding some tomatoes, some green beans, some corn, some peas, and maybe some lima beans. And Olivia is chopping up potatoes and celery and carrots and an onion. We have some seasonings to put in with it. And that's really all we need to make stone soup. Now, you can make stone soup any way you'd like, or we have some barley as well. This is barley. Barley is a grain, so we're going to add that as well. But you could add anything you'd like, but we did put a recipe in there for you so that you can kind of see what you have at home, and you can adapt and do what you like to do for soup.
Okay, you hear the sizzle? It's getting brown in here. Come take a look and see what's going on in the pot. There's our stone. There's our meat getting brown.
Now, if you were here with us today, boys and girls, you would be getting to do some of this yourself. You'd be able to put some pepper in yourself. I like pepper, so I put a lot of pepper in. Sometimes my grandchildren say, "Grandma, you use too much pepper." But I love pepper. Is that true, Olivia? Yes. We're going to put some salt in there. Sea salt.
A fresh brown like that.
Okay.
Great flavor. Smells great. Getting it a little bit more brown.
I'm going to go ahead and start opening up our cans. I wish you could all be here so you can participate in making the soup, because that's the most fun. And the best thing of all is, after this soup is done, you would have been able to taste it. And I think you would have all loved it.
Hopefully in the fall or next spring we'll all be together and able to do it. And then while I'm doing this, I also want to mention that if you don't have a version of Stone Soup at home, on our Audible, which is on our digital resources page of our website, you can click it, search Stone Soup, and a version of Stone Soup will come up. And it's written by Heather Forrester, and it's a cute version to go along with it too. So feel free to check into one of those free resources we have for you. It's getting there.
And when our meat is nice and brown, we do have to do something a little bit different. We actually have to take our stone out of here, because we're not sure what might happen if we try to pressure cook a stone. So we're going to take our stone out just so we'll be safe. If you're using a regular pot, you don't have to take your stone out. Mrs. Kathy never did that before. One of the things that Miss Megan found when she was looking for all of the stuff to do with Stone Soup was a very, very old version of something that I did in 1997, and she found a really cool thing she told me earlier. Miss Megan, you want to talk to them about that?
I found the original receipt Mrs. Kathy took with her to our Waynesburg Giant Eagle, and it was dated November 18th, 1997. So that would have made me 8 when Mrs. Kathy did this for the first time.
And back then, I bought all my ingredients for Stone Soup, plus I had bread, because I always serve bread and butter because I like bread and butter. And I spent $36.88 yesterday when I went to get my Stone Soup. I did not buy my bread and butter, and I brought a couple of things from home, but I spent, I think it was probably about the same amount. But as I said, I didn't buy as much as I did before. Before I bought 4 things of beef broth, and I bought navy beans and green beans and pepper and 2 cans of green beans and corn and peas and tomatoes, bouillon cubes, navy beans, corn, peas, tomatoes, alphabet noodles, celery, and butter, and meat, and onions, and cabbage, and beef stew meats, and that was a lot of food to get for $36 way back then. We couldn't buy that much for $36 today. So that was a pretty cool thing. It's been a long time since Mrs. Kathy was in children's, and I really always liked doing this particular story time. It was one of my favorites to do.
So that's why Mrs. Megan's enjoying getting to watch her do this. It's a great learning for me.
Hey, Miss Megan, do you think you better take that soup back?
I think we're ready.
Let me see if I can get that thing out. Let's see if I can get this. Ta-da! So Stone Soup, you gave us some good flavor. Where meat's nice and brown. What do you think, Miss Megan? Start adding our things. Okay. So we're going to add our liquids first. Let's start with our tomatoes.
So this is our diced tomatoes, and we're going to go ahead, pour it in. Oh, there we go. Look at that nice robust tomatoes. And now we're going to add our whole kernel corn.
This pot isn't quite as big as the pots that Mrs. Kathy always used, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to put every single ingredient we want in there or not, so we'll see here.
Now we have green beans. Who loves green beans? I can hear you guys saying, we do, we do. I'm going to lift that up. Go ahead, dump that in. Okay, now what should we add?
Let's add some peas.
Oh, peas. Perfect. I'm going to give it a little stir.
Actually, let me see here. You know what, let's add some of our vegetables. Olivia, you need any help with that onion over there?
Maybe a little bit.
Let Mrs. Kathy dice the onion well.
Okay, now in this bowl I have some chopped carrots, potatoes, and celery. And so I'm just going to go ahead and shake all of that in and then give it a nice big stir. Now look at our big pot. Doesn't that look delicious?
Oh, no wonder you're having trouble. This knife is about as dull as a butter knife.
I know.
Vivian's been over here chopping. It's like, oh, you feel kind of lost. But actually, I think Miss Megan does too, but I know Mrs. Kathy, whenever I used to do story times, I liked to do a lot of cooking with the children. So we would make porridge, we would make soup, we would do cookies. We did lots of things like that.
Stay tuned for this summer. She just gave me some ideas. We're doing Imagine Your Story Summer, which is about fairy tales, myths, and legends. So I think porridge goes along with a good one.
And I think one of the things that you can do if you're in the kitchen, and since children are out of school right now, cooking with your child is an excellent opportunity for them to learn about measuring and to learn even about fractions, because if they need a quarter cup of something or a half a cup, they need to understand that, you know, a half a cup is, you know, half of one full cup. So it's a good way to have them in the kitchen helping you and teaching them a little bit. And even your youngest ones, they like to do that. I cook with my grandchildren a lot. We like to bake. We bake a lot, don't we, Olivia? Yeah. I make a lot of cookies. All my grandchildren now are getting a little bit older, but my oldest ones, she's my oldest granddaughter, she bakes all by herself now because she's been doing it so many years. She knows exactly what she needs to do, and she enjoys baking. I think it's a great skill to have. Okay, Miss Megan, I think that'll be it for the onion. Okay, what do we look like? You know, do you think we need some more potatoes, maybe?
What do we think?
Maybe just add our peas and our lima beans?
Yeah, and then some broth and barley, and
Okay.
we'll be ready.
Now, if I was cooking this soup in a regular pot, I would actually be cooking this probably most of the day because I like to have my soup simmer for a long time. But because we're doing an Instapot and it's speedy, remember I told you it's called instant because it's speedy, we don't need to do this that long. And in fact, if we do it too long, our vegetables would get too done. So in about, after we put this lid on here, add that.
Lima beans. Love lima
I do
beans.
too.
Fresh from the garden, put a little butter and salt and pepper.
We're going to add some broth in there. I'm going to shake this broth up first. This is beef broth, so it gives a little bit more flavor to our soup. Really good. Okay, we're ready. I'm going to cover that up because we want it to be sure it's soupy, and it's not going to make any broth because there's nothing in here that will make any broth. So we want to make sure we have lots of broth in there. All right, I think maybe just, I don't think there's much more. It says full right there. I don't want to overfill it because I've heard that if you overfill these, it could be quite a mess. So I don't want to overfill it. It does have a fill line. Okay, we got it all in there. All right.
Give it a stir from the bottom.
Add a little bit more pepper in there. I don't see any pepper floating around there. Okay, let's see. Okay. Did you add more salt, Miss Megan?
I did add a little bit more salt.
All right, I think we're good. I'm going to put just a tiny little bit of barley in because I don't want it to get too thick, and barley will make it thick. I'm just going to add a little bit. Remember, they used barley in our story, didn't they? All right.
This Susie zooms in a little bit. We can take a look at it. Probably, we haven't seen a lot of barley, but to me it looks like oatmeal, and we all love oatmeal cookies and no-bake cookies, and even oatmeal for breakfast is delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a stir in.
Okay. So when you use an Instapot, you usually have to do a couple things. I heard Miss Megan say to you that you started on saute. We're going to turn the saute off now. There's my cancel button. If you look at the front of this Instapot, it has a lot of buttons, so it's a little intimidating. But I use mine at home. I usually use saute to brown my meats, and then I just use pressure. And this one, I think it says, where is it here?
Okay, boys and girls, we are back, and our Instapot just beeped, so that means it's finished cooking inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and release the pressure. Are we ready? This is kind of like, could be Miss Megan's science, if it works right. No? Woo! Oh man, it's really, woo! See all that steam and pressure being released? That's what cooks the food so fast. And then once that's done, we're gonna open it and then we'll show you what it's like inside. That's a lot, isn't it? Oh, when we open back up, we're going to have Instapot available to borrow to test run. I know there's tons of people out there are like, do I need to buy another appliance? Do I really need it? Is it going to take up space? What's it really going to do for me? But I was that same person, and it came on sale at Walmart, and I purchased it, and I've loved it. I use it at least 2 times a week right now. The other night I did a pork loin in it, and 20 minutes it was done. That was amazing to me, especially with my busy family and coming and going as much as we do. So yes, Instapots are fantastic. So be sure when we open back up, hopefully May 1st, we will be able to loan these out for you guys to test run with and see if you need one yourself. And we're also looking to do more of a gadget cookbook type thing Saturday mornings where we'll all meet and get to use different gadgets like the Instapot, like a slow cooker, the immersion blender is what I'm looking to do. And because I don't have one, but I hear they're phenomenal. So that's something we're also looking at doing when we open back up. So just keep that in mind. If you guys want to test run this here in another month or so, it'll be good to go. Okay, we're back, and our Instapot is preheating, getting ready to build up pressure so it can cook our food super fast. But for your viewing pleasure, over here we have a grandma-granddaughter duo, and they are going to be doing a special vegetable song that goes along with our stone soup. So please enjoy, be at home, practice the movements as well. And here is Mrs. Kathy and Miss Olivia.
All right, boys and girls, this is a song about vegetables and bunnies. And it goes like this. Bend down, spin around, pick a bunch of carrots. Bend down, spin around, pick a bunch of beets. Bend down, spin around, pick a bunch of turnips. Bend down, spin around, this is really neat. Oh, bunnies, pick a bunch of carrots. Oh, bunnies, pick a bunch of beets. Oh, bunnies, pick a bunch of turnips. Oh, bunnies, this is really neat. Bend down, spin around, pick a head of broccoli. Bend down, spin around, pick a cauliflower too. Bend down, spin around, pick a sprig of parsley. Bend down, spin around, some for me and you. Oh, bunnies, pick a head of broccoli. Oh, bunnies, cauliflower too. Oh, bunnies, pick a sprig of parsley. Oh, bunnies, some for me and you. Bend down, spin around, pick an ear of corn. Bend down, spin down, pick an ear of corn. Bend down, spin around, pick a bushel more. Bend down, spin around, pick an ear of corn. Bend down, spin around, still not some more. We missed out a little bit. Oh, buddies, pick an ear of corn. Oh, buddies, pick a bushel more. Oh, bunnies, pick an ear of corn. Oh, buddies, sell them at our store. There you go. Yay! Thank you for watching that. You can learn that song and just put your own vegetables in there even. So that's a little fun song that we did. Miss Megan, do you want to tell them about the activity that's going to be in their bags?
So I have a couple activities. We're going to go through this one together first so you know and practice at home. And then this is the craft that are in your bags this week. It's just a bowl with a spoon. And then I have vegetables all cut out ready to go for you guys to color and then put in your bowl. This would be a great activity to do if you're making the soup at home together. Say, oh, we're putting our corn in, and then glue your corn on. Great activity for that. So we're going to go ahead and do this together so you can practice. So on this side, I have some of the ingredients we have in our soup. And this side, I have pictures of that. So our first one is tomato juice. So we're going to look through here and see, is there anywhere that could be tomato juice? Well, that's diced tomatoes. And this is a tomato getting squeezed into a cup. Would that be tomato juice? I would say it was. So we're going to go ahead and take that down like that. And then we connected the two. And then we have diced tomatoes. Where did we say our diced tomatoes were? Yep, our other picture with tomatoes in it. There we go. And then green beans. Do we all love green beans? You all know what that looks like on your dinner plates, right? And then we're just gonna put it right there. Whoop. And then peas, peas, peas. Who loves peas? Right there. My son loves peas. And my kids really didn't like many vegetables, but my son's doing better with them. He even ate broccoli the other night, so I feel it. And so then next we have corn. Is that corn? I don't think so. Not that either. No, that looks like cabbage. Oh, this is yellow and it has a green husk on it. So that must be corn. I love corn on the cob. I cannot wait for it for the summer. And then next one, onion. Who remembers Miss Olivia, Miss Kathy cutting our onion up right up here? And then we have some celery. Do we like celery? Celery with peanut butter on it is delicious. It's a great snack too. So let's see if we can find some celery sticks. We had that one left, that one, or down here. And yep, we're gonna draw a line celery to our picture of the celery. And then we have cabbage, which we didn't add into ours. You could, but sometimes it's a little bitter, but I love cabbage and noodles. So we're gonna go ahead, and it looks like lettuce, so we're gonna put that there. And then last, potato. We all know what potatoes look like, right? And that's right there. And then just draw a line. Okay, so this is gonna be in your bag. This is gonna be in your bag. This is going to be in your bag. And then also a little snack goodie will be in the bag. So that is what I have for you there. And now we're going to do our next and last story, Duck Soup.
Okay.
And Mrs. Kathy will read that for us.
This is a funny, funny story. You're really going to enjoy it. And there's our duck. He's in a pot. I don't know. I don't know if he wants to cook himself. Let's find out what happens in Duck Soup, written by Jackie Urbanovich. Duck Soup. And this is a dedication page. I don't know, maybe when mom and dad read to you, they tell you about this page. This page is an important page in a book. It's usually when the author decides to say something special to somebody that means something special to them. So this one says, to Marcia for everything, especially the past 10 years of generous advice and conversation. Special acknowledgement to the Marx Brothers for borrowing their movie title. So she borrowed the title Duck Soup. This was it. A little pepper, some salt, a little parsley and potato. Soup. This would be Max's masterpiece. Ooh la la la. This is going to be grand, Duck said. Max had made lots of soups before. Fish soup with curry and pickled lemon. Ugh. Red hot chili soup. Squash gumbo. Cracker Barrel cheese and marshmallow soup. And way, way too many bean soup. He had cooked them all, but every recipe had been created by another chef, not Max. Now he was making his own soup, the soup that he, Maxwell Duck, would be remembered for inventing. Slurp, slurp, slip. It smells perfect, but the taste is just not quite right. What does it need? Max thought it over. A pinch of this, a pinch of that, broccoli, zucchini, chives. That's it! It needs an herb from the garden. Just wait, my delicate broth. Max will be back to make you perfecto in un momento. Smack, the front door slammed shut as Brody, Dakota, and BB walked in. Let's see what happens. Those are his friends. Something smells really good. Ooh, what smells so good? Asked Brody. Max must be cooking again. I bet it's better than last time, said Dakota. Hey, Max! Maxie! Where are you? Called Brody. We're about to eat your soup, added Dakota. So, what's wrong? Asked Brody. Taste it already, Dakota. Dakota gasped. I think I know where Max went. Where do you think Max went? Oh, no, something's in there. I told him he should never cook alone. Do you think he fell in? I'm sure that he did. Oh, no. Call for help, cried BB. Help! There's no time, said Dakota. Max, grab the spoon, yelled Dakota. That won't work, said BB. He can't hear you. I know. The strainer. The strainer? A big bowl with little holes. Hurry, grab it. Brody hoped that the soup would go down the drain and Max would stay behind. Uh-oh. Oh, no, it's his head, said BB. Silly, that's only a potato, Brody replied. Eyeballs, it's his eyeballs, said BB. Guys, it's only tiny onions, said Brody. Those aren't eyeballs. His feet, yelled Dakota. Calm down, you two. It's only carrot slices, said Brody. Smack. They all looked up as the back door slammed shut. Who could that be? My soup, yelled Max. Max, Max, Max. Oh, boy, his friends were glad to see him. That night, Max was very quiet over dinner. Cheer up, Max. You're still a great chef, said Irene. And you'll cook your perfect soup someday soon, she added. It'll be great, said Brody. Really great, said BB. And, oh, what's this next one? I can't get the page turned. We know you're disappointed, said Irene. But at least you're not duck soup. And then they all agreed, even Max. Because it would be pretty funny if Max was in a pot trying to cook himself. That's silly. Boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed our stories today. And Miss Susie is going to put the camera over to the Instapot, and you can hear it sizzling now. That means it's coming to pressure. Now, it's not going to be done right this minute because it hasn't even started counting down yet. But we can do another song, and then we're going to pause for a little bit. And when this soup is all done, we're going to open the lid and let you see what our stone soup looks like. And I hope you enjoyed our story times today. And before we go, we've got one more song to sing with you, and it is called Stone Soup. And it goes like this. Heat some water in a pot, add a stone you've scrubbed a lot. Sprinkle pepper, salt, and herbs, let it boil undisturbed. Drop in carrots, onions too, let the soup heat through and through. Stir in milk to make it sweet, add potatoes for a treat. Toss in beef bones, let it stew, let it bubble, let it brew. Taste the soup, and when it's done, share Stone Soup with everyone. And I hope that you guys will make your soup at home and share it with all of your family. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, bye. Okay, boys and girls, we are back, and our Instapot just beeped, so that means it's finished cooking inside. So I'm going to go ahead and release the pressure. Are we ready? This is kind of like, could be Miss Megan's science. If it works right. No? Woo! Oh, man. It's really... Woo! See all that steam and pressure being released? That's what cooks the food so fast. And then once that's done, we're going to open it, and then we'll show you what it's like inside. That's a lot, isn't it? We're going to have Instapot available to borrow to test run. I know there's tons of people out there are like, do I need to buy another appliance? Do I really need it? Is it going to take up space? What's it really going to do for me? But I was that same person, and it came on sale at Walmart, and I purchased it, and I've loved it. I use it at least 2 times a week right now. The other night I did a pork loin in it, and 20 minutes it was done. That was amazing to me, especially with my busy family and coming and going as much as we do. So yes, Instapots are fantastic. So be sure when we open back up, hopefully May 1st, we will be able to loan these out for you guys to test run with and see if you need one yourself. And we're also looking to do more of a gadget cookbook type thing Saturday mornings where we'll all meet and get to use different gadgets like the Instapot, like a slow cooker, the immersion blender is what I'm looking to do. And because I don't have one, but I hear they're phenomenal. So that's something we're also looking at doing when we open back up. So just keep that in mind. If you guys want to test run this here in another month or so, it'll be good to go. Okay, the pressure is all released, so we're going to go ahead and open it up and give it a look. Who's ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, look at that. It's very hot.
Look at that.
Isn't that beautiful?
It smells good.
So this is our stone soup lesson plan. We're going to, ooh, look at the barley. Look how, did it expand? And that's not a good show, but I'm trying to find a good piece. And the peas are all dented. See how they're all cooked up? Where's my barley? And there's some in there. See how it puffed up? Okay, so that is our stone soup. Hopefully next time we make this, we'll get to make it with you guys. And thanks for sharing, and we'll see you later. Bye, guys.